You're here to save my soul.
I understand it's your birthday.
Yeah. The party's just getting started.
His name is Callum Lynch. We've traced his bloodline back 500 years to the Assassin's Creed.
Cal, as anyone in the world knows or cares, you no longer exist.
What is this place?
This is your second chance.
What do you want from me?
Your past. You're about to enter the Animus. What you see, hear, and feel are the memories of your ancestor, who's been dead for 500 years.
Wait a minute!
Welcome to the Spanish Inquisition.
This is my world. Oh, you took the wrong turn.
What I saw in there, it felt real.
It was.
You're stuck in my world.
We're watching you, waiting to see who you are.
Trust me, this is gonna hurt. Tell me every watch you turn.
I believe you are destined for great things.
Let's find out.
This is my world.
We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins. I'm beginning to like this.
Guys, give it up one more time for the people behind Assassin's Creed. Wow, look at all of you. Look at all of you. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I got to see the film this morning. It's amazing. You did an incredible job. I haven't seen a film based on a video game or a superhero movie look like this ever. It's got an incredible visual style, and I think that's all due to you, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Michael, you are a producer on this. This is your first time as a producer. You've EP'd some stuff before, and you worked with Justin before on Macbeth and Marion before on that as well. Did you bring them along into this film after that, or was this sort of already underway?
No, we were sort of, I don't know what phase in filming Macbeth, but just had such a great experience with Justin, and he was such a strong visionary, and the way that he worked with the resources that he had, and also the way that he worked with Adam Arkapaw as DP, I just knew that they were a very special team. And then, obviously, working with Marion, everybody tries to get Marion on their films. Yeah.
Best of the best.
So I approached Justin, and I told him about the sort of universe and why I was interested in it, and would he have any interest in it himself. And he came on board pretty immediately, met the guys from Ubisoft and New Regency, and they both, took to him immediately also, and then Marion followed shortly afterwards.
What did this universe mean to you? How did you get involved with it from the beginning?
Well, I had a lunch with the guys from Ubisoft, and they just started to explain this universe to me. They started to explain the Templars, who are they? This sort of elite group in society that basically run the world. And they believe in science and order, and they also believe that certain people should be enslaved. And then you've got the flip side of them, which are assassins who believe that free will should be protected at all costs. And in the middle of this, you've got this concept of genetic memory, that within our DNA, we have the experience and knowledge of our ancestors passed down through the generations as a sort of survival tool, something that we might describe as a sixth sense or a gut feeling or an instinct. It's actually in our DNA. I thought that was not only cool, but very plausible. So I thought, wow, you've got this fantasy world that's really anchored in something real. And then the concept of the animus, that through this machine we could genetically time travel to different episodes in history. And obviously they gave me the examples that were in the game. And I thought, wow, this is just a fascinating world. This is a world that will lend itself very easily to the cinema.
And now, are you a video game player, or was this just something that you heard about the world and you were like, that would make a phenomenal blockbuster movie?
I mean, I've played video games. It was a while since I really had a sort of, real proper foray into the sort of realm, because I think it was 2000 or 1999 where I really had my last sort of marathon run on video games.
Can I ask, do you remember what game it might have been?
It was a racing game. That's all I can say. And you could choose muscle cars, or you could choose like more sort of high-tech sort of, I guess, more like Fast and Furious type sort of, I don't know, Asian cars or Japanese cars.
Cruisin' World, I bet.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sounds.
That's the one game that I think I know of.
Was that back in '99?
Yeah, there was like a video game that you would find at movie theaters and stuff, and you'd sit down and you'd pick cars and you'd go into turbo mode.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not sure that was it. I know that one too, because I've always played the arcade games, to be fair. And also I used to play the Formula 1 racing game. So kind of one genre, really. And then I met the guys from Ubisoft. So I'd seen the posters for Assassin's Creed, and I've seen some of the commercials on television. So I was always curious. I thought, wow, this is kind of mysterious. There's something dangerous about this, but I didn't know anything about the world.
Marion, you come from Macbeth with these two. Obviously, not something that would be the introduction to a movie based on a video game. What was the selling point for you? I mean, clearly he has a completely different point of view on the story than it's a movie based on a video game.
Well, I was not familiar with the video game either, but the idea of working with Justin and Michael again was the first thing that got me very excited by the project, even before reading the script. And then I read the script, and I thought it was such an amazing project with such a strong concept, as Michael just described, the concept of genetic memory. And I thought it was a very entertaining movie, and at the same time, a movie that asked very profound questions about violence, about power, about manipulation, about divided societies, free will, and genetic memories, obviously. And I just love that the two female characters were so strong, Sophia Raikin and also Maria, who's played by Ariane Labed, another French actress. And yeah, for all those reasons, I felt very lucky that they asked me to be part of this project, and I'm super proud to be part of this project.
Absolutely, Jeremy. There is I would say, a trend in your career of playing God, characters that play God.
Look at me.
I could start with Dead Ringers and then move on after that. Where do you think that comes from in terms of how directors and storytellers view you as an actor, the sort of power and charisma that you have?
I think it's just because I'm tall. Because God is patently tall, isn't he? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why Justin
What a
asked me
voice.
to do... What?
Well, the voice is
pretty
amazing.
Charisma.
I was delighted to be asked because, for whatever reason, he decided, because I'm a great admirer of this pair, and I'd seen Macbeth and was an admirer of what he did. Fantastic visual. Yeah, go on. There's another applause. And because, when you're asked to make a movie that's based on a video game, it sort of goes slightly down the pile. But when I thought this pair said yes, and he knows how to do it, so yeah, I think I'm on board that and see where the adventure takes us. It didn't take me very far in the film, but I have to say I saw it the other day, and it's an extraordinary film. It's really, don't just take his word.
Yeah, you can't take my word, but I do agree.
It's really, it's intelligent. you know, it will, the fans of the game will adore it, adults will adore it, kids, I can't think who, even my sister's going to like it. It's an amazing piece of work, so bravo, bravo.
I think to compliment the film one more time, so often with films like this, we're just going from set piece to set piece to set piece, and I think there's actual character building in this movie, and there's ideas that make the set pieces that you get to much more realistic feeling and also much more believable and emotional at times, which I'd imagine is a fairly hard thing to be able to accomplish in today's world when it comes to making films like this. Is it hard to sort of pull off a movie that isn't just going from set piece to set piece and is actually engaged and cares about character and ideas?
Yeah, I mean, it's the greatest challenge. I think especially within this genre, and when you have some pretty formidable action sequences that you know that you've got to kind of pull off in the film, to be able to kind of weave a narrative that's going to be engaging, but also that has themes and ideas behind it which are extremely strong. But that has a lot to do with the game. I mean, when you kind of sit down and you start to really discuss the game and the ideas behind it and the ideologies, and you know, as Michael was saying, this whole notion of, you know, intuition and instinct, and where does it actually sort of come from, and is it sort of passed down in our blood? You know, what makes someone, like my daughter is suddenly extraordinary at flamenco. Now I'm the worst dancer in the world, and I just look at this little girl and wonder whether there's some sort of Spanish blood that's kind of been passed on, that's kind of awoken this, you know, this ability, because it's just unnatural. And I think that idea of being connected to past experiences and having some sort of relationship to your ancestors' experiences is a really interesting idea.
You know, it's funny as well, because a producer said to me recently, who will remain unnamed, but makes these kind of movies, he was like, it's just all about spectacle. Just fill the movie with spectacle. And I was like, yeah, it's like, that's so depressing to me.
And I couldn't believe at the end how emotional I felt at the end of this movie. And it wasn't really because I was in it, it was just the movie. I mean, something you do, you know, in the story, you feel really emotional. And that happens not too often, you know, in these big movies. So I think.
Well, I was extremely lucky to have these people in this film. I mean, to have you know, Michael Kay and Jeremy, Marion, and Michael, but then also Brendan Gleeson, Ariane Labed, Danny Menashe. You know, it's amazing to attract this quality of cast that can bring, you know. I mean, Jeremy's character in this film could very easily sway into a kind of one dimension, and the brilliance of Jeremy is to take these big ideas in the film and be able to condense them down to something very kind of human, and a lot of that is, you know, his extraordinary ability as an actor.
Well, I think there's been a spectacle to spectacle is one thing, but there's been so many trends when it comes to superhero movies and video game movies in the past few years, and this movie avoids so many of them, and one of them is with your character at no point releases a doomsday device. At no point is there a massive spectacle CGI tiger tearing apart the city and they have to blow everything up. Everything is rooted in central ideas that are within the narrative and in these characters, and I really appreciated that. Even the action scenes are mostly feel like, I'm sure some are CGI, but they're parkour and they're fight scenes, and we don't even really get fight scenes in movies anymore. As producer of the movie, was that something that was important for you, developing it over the sense into filming?
I've got to say, you know, that was, you know, Justin from the get-go was like, you know, we're going to shoot this old school. So it's going to be real people in real locations, you know, fighting, hanging off buildings, jumping from building to building.
How much jumping did you do?
The jumping, maybe 10%. I'm not sure in terms of leaps and jumping, because we did lose quite a few stunt people along the way. Not fatally, but they twisted ankles and got leg injuries. So I did as much as I could of that, but Ariane and myself, we did 95% of the fighting ourselves. In terms of CGI, where that comes in, it was basically in the Abstergo stuff, really. But in terms of the stuff that we shot in Malta, which is doubling up for Spain, in Valletta in the Old Town, that's like all happening, you know, in real locations. Obviously, you've got to scrub out certain things that are not of the time period, but that's all, you know, that's all real stuff happening there. And then also the stuff that we shot in Almeria, which is the carriage chase at the beginning. this is all stuff that's, as I say, happening in real time in real places.
Michael, you have a background in dancing. You started as a dancer and I knew that because I've interviewed you before, and I've done a little research. And when the movie started and I saw where your character might be going, I was really excited because I was like, oh, is he going to use his dance background and fight people? Did your dance background help at all?
Yes. My dance background definitely helped a little bit in regards to catching the choreography.
Were you excited to use it?
Yeah, I needed it. It made the process more smoother for me. However, the stunts, the type of fighting that I was called to do for Assassin's Creed is like nothing I'd ever done before. I've been in a ton of fight, scenes in movies, and you're scrapping, punch, duck, kick around. This stuff is like it's so precise because it's martial arts in the sense what we're doing, and you're using weapons and it has to be poetic. The movements have to be fluent and poetic. It's like a ballet, and I'm just a street dancer. So it was the technical aspect of it was extremely challenging for me, and it was a instrument I had never had a chance to use before ever as a dancer or as an actor. So it was a truly enriching experience for me. I got hard, I worked harder to maintain to really look as good as I could in the choreography. Yeah.
Michael, I have to ask, you've had an incredible year. The Night Of was on HBO this year. I think it's possibly one of the best things ever put on television. Congratulations for that. You reteamed on that with Richard Price, who was one of the writers on The Wire. What was it like getting back and working with that crew? And did it feel like sort of doing The Wire again?
The Night Of felt like a combination of a lot of things. It felt like The Sopranos met Boardwalk Empire, met The Wire, and then they had a kid. It was a beautiful menage a trois, and had a kid called, The Night Of. I felt like, God bless the dead. I felt, like James Gandolfini's, his spirit, his essence is, I think, I can't really explain what I'm trying to say. If we're speaking about ancestral energy here, you definitely felt his presence on the set. You can feel how passionate he was about this project, and I believe that transcends to the audience. And to be able to, the crew members, you have crew members from The Wire, the Boardwalk Empire, Sopranos, directors.
Family.
It was a HBO love fest for me to work on that project. A lot of hard work, but and Riz Ahmed was amazing. He's he's a real, he's an actor's actor. Yeah.
Michael, the first time I ever saw you in a movie was in Hunger, which I saw in theaters a couple times. I think it's a masterpiece. It's an unbelievable film. And from there, you did Shame. You've done a number of movies. You executive produced Slow West. How important is it for you to sort of maintain a kind of artistic truth when it comes to doing movies like Assassin's Creed as well as X-Men, and sort of bridging the gap between something like Hunger and something like X-Men?
Well, the thing is, I've never really considered myself an artist, to be honest. I've always considered myself as a craftsperson, and I don't think, let's keep an artist integrity with something like Assassin's Creed. I just want it to be good. I just want it to be entertaining, to be challenging, provocative, to on the surface to be an entertaining ride, but then to have a bit of sort of depth to it, and to as Marion said, some profound questions at the center of it. But I always just think of good stories. That's all I care about. Good storytelling. I think coming from Ireland, the one thing that we do well, we do other things well, but
walk it back.
But one of the things that we've got a rich history in is storytelling, whether it's in songs, poetry, or screenplays, playwrights. It's just something that we grow up around. So storytelling to me is the most important thing, to tell a story, whether it's in a television medium, or it's on the big screen, or it's something like this, which is a sort of high concept type sort of fantasy ride, or it's a small film like Hunger. I just love hearing stories, and I like to tell them.
And you still sort of go back and make films in Ireland, right? Is it important for you, as your sort of stature rises and you become famous, for lack of a better word, to sort of go and give back to filmmakers who are trying to make films there?
Well, you know, why I'm sitting here is because so many people helped me along the way, and that's absolute fact. So that's one thing for sure that I want to be able to do the same, and setting up a production company was a major part of that, that I would have the opportunity to work with new writers, new directors, new actors, as well as working with the more established talent, but to really sort of nurture the ground for the next generation. And not just as a sort of, charitable thing, in a way, because I want to be kept relevant through them. And to find out what are teenagers interested in now, what's the new sort of excitement or topic matters that people are interested in.
Do you have a Snapchat for that, for teenagers?
I don't do any social media, but
Smart,
I'm open
very
to
smart.
learning.
Don't learn.
I got to say, I mean, DMC and Michael, the way they work with young filmmakers is pretty extraordinary and unique. I mean, there's no way I'd ever get offered an Assassin's Creed. I mean, it was Michael's faith and trust and support behind me doing it and being a kind of virgin to this sort of film experience that, that's, you should be commended for that.
Oh, thanks, man. I just knew that once people was, like I said, by all means, if I can facilitate, I just knew, from seeing Snowtown Murders, met Justin once, I was like, I have to work with him, I'm going to learn from this guy. And then the experience of Macbeth, it would have happened without us for sure, but it was just, I was like, God, let's get him on Assassin's Creed. So when he came on, I was thinking, God, this project has been elevated immediately. And, it is that thing of, you've still got to convince the guys at Ubisoft and the guys at New Regency, but there's just something, really special about Justin that I knew it would be an absolute coup to get him on board.
Well, Justin, I was geeking out with you backstage about Snowtown. I love that film. Did you think when you made the Snowtown Murders, which was a fairly disturbing depiction of an impoverished community in Australia and the rise of a kind of serial killer demagogue within that impoverished community, that just a few years later you'd be directing something like Assassin's Creed? Did you ever see that as the kind of the flow of your career?
No, I sort of probably do sort of social realist pieces for the next. I don't know. I look back and I love the kind of variety of films that I've been involved in, and I'm always try to do things that scare me, and definitely Macbeth with Michael and Marion was something, the baggage behind that play was something terrifying. And this was even more terrifying, I think, to do something this large, but also try to land a film like this, and based on a game that has some of the most passionate people, in the world. I mean, gamers are
and
serious.
vocal.
Sorry.
And vocal.
And vocal, yeah.
Passionate and vocal.
Yeah, which is great. It's I mean, Shakespeare fans and gamer fans are. They should,
unite.
Yeah, they should get in a room together and things would happen.
Dress up.
They do. They dress up. Maybe not together, but they dress up.
I've been to Comic-Con. It's good.
How did you feel about that going into something where the fans were going to be so vocal and possibly paying attention to any news surrounding the development process or any news surrounding the script or just the trailer,
I love it. I embrace it. I mean, the way that I see it is that, at DMC, we're a passionate vocal group of people as well. And, having experienced that with the comic book community, I found that, they're passionate fans. So, they're the people that you want to sort of please. But at the same time, they want to be tested as well, I've found. So it's kind of a healthy dose of respect and disrespect, because you want to show new things to them as well, challenge them as well. But I love it. Again, sort of speaking of Comic-Con, you go to that festival and it's just such a buzz, and it's one of the few festivals that you go to that actually belong to the fans, and we're just guests there, and it's a pretty overwhelming experience.
Marion, I think as Mr. Iron said, when you get a script that says it's based on a video game, it usually goes to the bottom of the stack. But I imagine when you read the script, it shocked you that the female lead, it's not a love story for her. She's not in the midst of some kind of love triangle, or she doesn't need to be rescued from the villain. She's actually someone who is a scientist who's very concerned with her career and is trying to make a difference in the world. Did that shock or surprise you when you saw the script?
Well, I knew, because I knew that they had been working on the script all together I knew that they would deliver an amazing script because their vision, their talent, their intelligence would not go in the wrong way, and yeah, they created very really amazing and complex and mysterious characters, and especially, as I said before, very strong female characters, Sophia is very ambiguous. She's, I mean, there's a lot about her that is mysterious, as I said, and that could really fall into a very scary thing, even if her quest is kind of a noble quest. Finding a cure for violence is a pretty interesting idea, I would say. But then when you try to control people and to get rid of violence using this same violence, there's something which is kind of wrong about it. And I loved the idea that she's a scientist focused on her goal. She dedicated her life to this, and at the same time, there's something very human in the way she's emotionally connected to the people she works with. I mean, the people she uses, like Cal and Musa, and it's even more. You can even feel the danger even more that what she could become, because she's an unbalanced person. But there's all this mystery around her that you don't read right away who she is. And the relationship they created with both her father and Cal are very, very interesting too. For sure, she doesn't do this for money or power or recognition. She has a different kind of agenda. She's, for an actor, absolutely amazing to play. And the other female character, Maria, who has a lot of action to do, but there's something very emotional about her as well. And I think this is also the talent of Justin, who could find humanity in a broken chair. I mean, that's why I love working with him, is to find the humanity in everything he does, everything he wants to share, and the way he shares his vision is full of humanity.
Absolutely. Let's open it up to the audience for questions. You have a question? You're standing there with a microphone.
So my question is for Michael. Obviously, we know you for your acting career, and now you've got your production company, and you're getting into producing. Would you be interested in directing in the future?
I'd like to try it, yeah. I've always wanted to do it from when I was like 18, I guess. So yes, I'd like to do it at some point, hopefully in the next couple of years.
Next question.
Hi, over here. Assassin's Creed has a lot of fans, obviously. So how do you respect the fans, and still make it accessible to people like me who've never played the video game? So that's kind of what I was asking.
Justin?
Well, I think we always approached it as a film first, and I think Ubisoft were very generous in supporting that and providing new characters and new locations. But there's something inherently in the game. Like it's not as if we're elevating the game. The ideas in it and the look of it and the world of it is such an extraordinary kind of place to start. So it's about finding that bridge where obviously the fans can recognise and see that we've celebrated certain aspects of the game. But there's surprises, and it's playing as a kind of real thing within a film. And then, for those that don't know the world, it's important that this sort of connects, in the real world. and I guess that's the approach we took. You know, shooting on real locations, shooting with this extraordinary cast, and being able to kind of give the film a very grounded sort of presence was really important.
Next question.
Question for Jeremy. This is very different from, I realize you're not involved in the action from what they've talked about, but I mean, obviously I was just curious that you'd be proud to add this to your resume because you've done so many very different things. I was just curious.
I'm very proud to add this to my resume. I mean, I get very easily bored, and I love doing pictures that are completely different from other pictures that I've done. So I suppose if I look back, there is a fairly wide spectrum of movies I've done. Some good, some bad, some whatever. All good. But no, I'm involved in this Batman thing. That's but this is which is another sort of. And I've just finished making 2 comedies, road movies. I mean, so I love different stuff in my work. It's more interesting for me, and finally, that's why I do it, because it's more interesting for me. I mean, I don't know how other people cope with it. So I like doing things that are very different. I'm very pleased to have this on the list.
You're a legend.
Stop saying that about people when they come on stage. Don't call me a legend. Next question.
We're going to take our
Because all that means is you're old.
We're going to take our next question from an online viewer. So Lauren says, you all do such a good job immersing audiences with your characters on screen. Is staying out of the public eye and keeping a private life important to achieving that?
Yes.
And scene. Next question.
Hey guys, is it too soon to ask about this sequel? And what do you want your characters to accomplish in maybe the next movie or 2?
Secrets. Secrets. We do have an idea where we're going to be going next, if we get the opportunity to go somewhere next. When we started writing the first one, we had an arc over 3 films. So we do have an idea. Can't tell you anything about it, though.
I think that's it. Guys, Assassin's Creed comes out the 21st of December. It's really fantastic. You guys did an amazing job. Congratulations. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks, guys.